Hello and welcome to our podcast, Body Talk Fit. I am your host and owner of Body Talk Fit, Noelle.
And I'm your co-host, Diane.
I do want to tell you what Body Talk Fit is.
Body Talk Fit is designed to help the woman enhance her sensual inner and outer self through dance. Body Talk Fit helps boost self-confidence by building appreciation and awareness of your body and how to move it.
This is a fun fitness dance class that will have your booty shaking, your hips swaying, your neck rolling, your confidence boosted, your body glistening from sweat, and your walk more sexy than when you walked in.
All right.
Hello. Welcome to our podcast, Body Talk Fit, which airs every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are pre-recording this podcast only this one time. And we have a very special guest with us tonight. Her name is Chalamaine Armstrong. Mm-hmm. And Ms. Chalamaine Armstrong owns a mortgage company.
Correct.
And it is called Kiss Wealth Now. Yes. And Ms. Chalamaine is going to tell us what Kiss Wealth Now stands for and what it is.
So look, I did a little cliche statement. Everything begins with a kiss, right? No. But so how Kiss Wealth Now came about, old military, I think it was a Marine saying, KISS for keep it simple, stupid, wealth and now. So what I wanted to create was a brand that was simple enough that someone would not be afraid of it, would not be intimidated by it, but they would want to definitely be a part of it and create wealth.
Okay. That sounds great. This is going to be a great podcast. Everybody wants to own a home.
That's
everybody, most people are scared to even go into that first step.
That's right.
Home ownership, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us brown people
correct
don't know how to go about doing it. They're like, okay, dang, do I need good credit? I mean, what credit score do I need?
Right.
How much money do I need to make?
Right, yes.
And all of that good stuff.
Where am I going to live? No.
Right. Dang. I mean,
it's a lot of responsibility.
Right. Now, homes that you could buy 10 years ago, that was $100,000. Now they $500,000.
That's
right.
Correct,
So
yes.
a lot of things have, increased in price as well.
Right.
So we are going to go with some questions. I'm going to ask Ms. Chalamaine Armstrong some questions about all that she does at her mortgage company.
Yes.
So
it's a lot.
The first question that I want to ask is, how long have you been in the mortgage industry?
So I know I look like a young spring chicken, like I started this yesterday, but I've been in the business 30 days. No, I'm teasing. 30 years.
They're like, oh,
30 days.
I go with somebody else.
I know, right? 30 days. No, 30 years. And I actually started in a mailroom of a mortgage company. So I actually started off stuffing envelopes. And at the time, I was just reading what I was stuffing. And I was very inquisitive. Like, what does this mean? What is rate? What is term? What's fixed? What's an arm? And started asking questions. And at that time, there was not online. So I had to go, get the dictionary, get the thesaurus and just really start, researching what I was doing. And the people who were managing me realized how inquisitive I was and said, you might need to be up front, because I actually was going up to them asking questions because I had done the research. And they said, you know what, you get promoted to answering the phone.
Girl, what?
And
you
the
went
rest
from stuffing mail to answering the phone,
right? And the rest is history.
Okay, nice. So when did you purchase your first home?
I was 28 years old, but I got approved when I was 25 to buy a condo. And I just wasn't really sure that at that time, because I was living in Seattle, Washington. That's how I moved from Seattle to Texas. But I wasn't necessarily sure, one, that I was going to be staying in Seattle. So I didn't buy my first home until I came to Texas, but I was ready.
And when did you come to Texas?
In 2000.
In 2000, that's when he was like, okay, I think I want to stay here. I think I want to buy a house.
Yes. And the funny story is that I bought my first house sight unseen. So at that time, you could go online. So I went online and I was looking at houses.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, you know what? I like this house. It was a Fox and Jacobs way back in the day. And I FedExed them my check for $500 to hold my house.
Girl, shut. So you bought this house without even seeing it.
Correct. And that salesperson.
Did you like it?
I loved it. It suited the purpose. It was, I tell everybody, I call it my rags to riches story, because my house did not have 9-foot ceilings. It was a box, but it was my box.
Right. It was your box.
And so because it was my box, then I could do what I wanted to do with it. And when I sold my box years later, I made $45,000. And had I snubbed my nose at the box and said, "Oh, it's not what everybody else had," I wouldn't. 10 years later, I wouldn't have nothing.
Wow. Nice. So I bought my first house at the age of 30. Mm-hmm. And I think this is when Obama was giving that $8,000 tax credit. What was that called?
Yeah, well, I can't remember what it's called, but yes, it's tax credit.
About?
Exactly. First-time home buyer. First-time home buyer.
It was a first-time home buyer
credit. Yeah.
So in order for me to get this first-time home buyer, I had to go to like a seminar. It was like every weekend. It was like in Louisville, like maybe Denton County, because I bought it in Denton County. And I had to go for like a month. It was like 4 classes.
Homebuyer education.
Homebuyer education.
And you have to pass the test at the end, correct?
In order to qualify.
I've taught those classes before.
Yes. So I bought a duplex. I'm at age 30. I'm like, I was working I was managing a credit union at the time, and I didn't think I was gonna get approved. I had probably at the time I had a low 600 credit score. I think it was like 624.
And you did an FHA loan.
Yeah, around the time that I purchased. Age 30, my kids were young, so I'm like, oh dang, and I bought it myself. So I'm like, dang, I thought I was really doing something. Really doing something.
She was feeling herself.
Dang, I had just bought a car. I had just graduated and got my college degree. So I bought my first home in 2010. So I was like, man, this is like 2010 was my year. I did all of this stuff,
all the milestones.
And then I quit the credit union as soon as I bought the house. I'm like, what? Girl, hold on. Started Body Talk Fitness. So that's a whole different story, right?
Right.
So we also have our behind the scenes co-host over here.
Come on in.
Over here.
I'm doing technical things today where I'm most comfortable.
Our behind the scenes co-host, girl. Y'all know who she is, Miss Diane. She's a part of the studio. She's been here forever and ever and ever.
And we love her.
Everybody loves her. Everybody loves her. But she's more behind the scenes type chick, right? But she'll come out when she needs to. So she is going to she's going to tap in when she needs to, because I want her to tap in on a certain question that I have about home ownership, because she's a renter. And we'll get into that later.
Yes, I'll be back.
She'll be back. So when working with clients, what is your pet peeve when talking with them about purchasing a home?
Surprisingly, a lot of people do not know what they make. For me, it's top of mind. Like, it's what I make, so much I got. A lot of people don't know. I actually had one lady, I remember she didn't know how much she made, and she told me one amount, and I said, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." And she goes, "My money's just deposited into my bank account." So I said, "Well, get your check stubs." So when she got her check stubs, she was actually saw that they were paying her $2 less an hour. Because nowadays everything's direct deposit, automation, integration. So her check was direct deposited, and she just took for granted that people in payroll knew what to pay her. Yeah. So most people don't know what their hourly rate is, and they actually have to go online and look it up.
Better get with that.
Yeah. So correct. Please.
Check your money.
Because I can't tell you. I know it probably once or twice a day. Person says, "Oh, let me look. I have to check." Now me, I know I'm top of mind.
So does it go off net or gross?
Good question. So if you are a W-2 employee, a wage earner, then it's going to go off of your gross income. But if you are self-employed, then it's going to go after your net, meaning you have your gross income from your self-employed business. And then after you take out all your deductions, then what's left is what we're going to count.
Now, so let's say I'm a W-2 employee, and I have 401k taken out. I have insurance taken out. So are you subtracting that from, how does that work?
Good question. So your 401k, your taxes, only thing that's going to affect your debt to income ratio is if you have a garnishment. And a garnishment would be child support, or you had a judgment that, somehow they sued you for, and they said it has to come out your payroll. So, but anything, that you do voluntarily, like insurance and 401k, that is not held against you at all. So very good question.
Y'all better take notes on this.
Please
because
do.
Miss Alice Chalamaine, and she's very knowledgeable in all of this, as you can see.
But if I had been in the business 30 days, they wouldn't think that.
I've been here 30 days. 30 days going strong on 31 tomorrow.
I know, right?
So a lot of us, we want. It's crazy because I was talking to a friend the other day. I'm like, what's your credit score? I don't know. You can get on several sites to get your credit report free once a year. And people don't know their credit score. People don't keep up with what is on their credit, right?
What's required. Yeah.
Right. So what is the average credit score you see from clients when you when people come to you wanting to purchase a home?
Good question. So I can honestly tell you guys and the audience that credit scores really vary by demographic, meaning, if you take maybe a single mom with a couple of kids versus a married family, there's different things that play into, and they know this. The bureaus, they have it down to a science, kind of what, if you've lived certain places for a shorter amount of times or, renting versus owning, you're going to get a good mix. But I can tell you on average, especially in Texas, most people come in, they're in the 600s. I don't want to say it's a rarity that they're in the 700s, but if a person's in a 700 or an 800, typically they are an older individual, maybe been on their job 30 years, been living in the same residence for 10 years, very stable people. Younger you are, you have student loans, you may have a car loan, you may have some credit cards. So you're going to be in that 600.
You may be helping them kids on everything.
Right. So it definitely just depends on where you're at in your life. But, and it doesn't mean that you have bad credit. It's just that maybe you are extended, right? Extended more than that retired person who's established.
So when clients come to you, so do you, okay, so how am I going to ask this? Do you advise them to, hey, go pull your credit report? Or you say, okay, I'm going to pull your credit report? I mean, because that's a soft hit, hard hit when you put it. What is that?
Good question. So I have the ability as a mortgage banker to do a soft pull, but if you want me to run underwriting, because I actually do, I call it desk underwriting. I underwrite every file at my desk. So when that happens and I issue an approval letter, it's an approval. It's not a piece of paper. It ain't tissue that you throw away. It's actually real money that you have at your disposal to go find a home. And so with that being said, if a person doesn't know their score, then yes, hands down, I'm going to pull it. But I'll ask them questions about what they think their credit score is. If they just don't know, they don't know. But there's a difference between a consumer score and a FICO score. So when you as a consumer go out to a Credit Karma, Credit Score Sense, or maybe with your bank, they're providing your credit score, they're going to give you a consumer score. And a consumer score is based off of a general algorithm. And that is, basically compiling your credit over its history, but not necessarily grading it on any particular type of credit. Whereas a FICO score, which is what a mortgage is given off of, the algorithm that's used to generate that score is more specific on how well did you pay back your installment loans? How well did you pay back your revolving loans? Do you have any collections? So, or do you have a mortgage? And so when we're reading a credit report, an M stands for mortgage. Installment loan would be a car loan, student loans, recreational vehicles, credit cards, obviously, a store credit card or a bank credit card and so on. So a FICO score is more, the algorithm is based on how well you pay those long-term debts and those short-term debts.
So, there's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian.
Correct.
So,
girl, you know your bureaus.
So, when I managed the credit union, I did. I approved loans too. But it was car loans and then personal loans, credit cards and stuff like that. So I know a little bit about that stuff. But we went off Experian.
Right.
We put your score from Experian, and that's what we went off of.
And banking institutions will do that, but mortgage companies do the middle of the three.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for a person, let's say, I'm gonna use round numbers. You know, my little corny joke. I say so I can sound smart. So let's say Experian, they got a 600. Equifax, they have a 620, and TransUnion, they have a 640. Their middle score is a 620.
Gotcha.
So it's not where we add them up and divide them. Whatever's in the middle is what we're working with.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. Y'all need to take notes. This is very good information to write down and to know when trying to purchase a home. So, okay. So this question is not even on the list. So what if I had a home and I have a rental home?
Okay.
Right. So let's say I have purchased this home, right? I have this little duplex on the side. And I want to rent it out, but I want to go purchase my home for me. How does that work as far as, okay, do y'all take into account, hey, this is a rental home and hey, that is income that is coming in, right?
Right.
And do y'all include that income from the rental in my pay?
Right.
To purchase this home that I want for $850K.
Okay, of course, madam, of course,
because I'm trying to upgrade.
We're trying to hit different milestones, like $500,000 and above.
Right.
But so yes, with a mortgage, a traditional mortgage, and I'm going to talk about many different mortgage types. But right now, we're talking about traditional. With a traditional mortgage, we can only use income that's claimed on the tax returns. So if you have a rental property that you've had for a couple of years, if you're not claiming any rental income on your taxes, then we would not be able to use that in your buying power. So it's essential to do that. And even you guys, I've had people say, oh, well, such and such has been with me for 5 years and they give me $500 cash. If you can use, it's called borders income. That is allowed with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But if you don't claim border income on your tax returns, then you can't use it when you're trying to get a traditional mortgage.
So people need to get a really good accountant.
Correct.
Basically.
Yes. So
to claim that rental income.
Correct. It has to be claimed if you're going to use it. Now, if you're going to purchase a property as a primary residence and you're going to rent out your current residence, then all we would need is a lease. It's because you haven't vacated your current property yet to acquire that new property. So a lot of people do that where they'll rent out their current home and purchase another, and all we then need is a lease, because at that point in time you live in it. You wouldn't have to report on your taxes.
I had a girlfriend recently do that. She has a house in Mansfield. She leased it out and she wanted to live downtown in a high rise.
Okay.
So that's what she did. She leased out her Mansfield house with a pool and everything. I mean, nice house.
Right.
And then moved to a condo downtown.
Okay, not bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And probably because she's trying to test, a lot of people test the waters. I have a family that I was helping where they actually rent out their property and moved to Houston, close to the kids. They wanted to see if they liked the area. They did. And now they're going to sell their house.
Nice. So, how much? So did we talk about the lowest credit score supplement?
Oh, we did not, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. Yes.
Let's get into that, because we just talked about credit scores and Experian and all of that stuff.
Right.
So, what is the lowest credit score that you have seen?
Okay. Well, that I've seen.
Or hold on, no, not that you have seen, but that you have seen get approved.
Right. So I look at, you kind of like, when you get into like,
338.
Right. I think the lowest is a 383 or 393. I don't know. No, 350. I think 350 is the lowest. And I can tell you, I remember seeing like a 393, and that's like when you never paid back nobody. Like you didn't even keep your promises to God. I say, okay, you just did not keep no promise. You just said,
I promise to pay you next year,
and you didn't. Okay, so the range will say from 350 to 850 is what the ranges of credit is. But the lowest credit score that I can finance is a 500. So
really?
Correct. Yes.
Does that require a $100,000 down payment?
No, like maybe just maybe a kidney, I
have a kidney.
Yeah, you come off the donation list real quick. No, but with a 500 credit score, you only have to put down 10%. So where I see that happen at with most people, again, demographics play a big piece of that. So you take a family, maybe he's getting divorced, you know, and they, you know, had to sell a home.
Okay.
And maybe that, you know, neither party could agree who was going to pay the mortgage, you know, or who was going to pay the car note or who was going to pay anything.
Okay.
Then that person would have a lower credit score. But when they sell that home, they have money to put down. So they can put down 10% and they can buy a home with a 500 credit score, you know, or let's take someone maybe who had, you know, some medical issues that were outside of their control. You know, I had someone who lived in a house once they had black mold. So it wasn't their fault the house had black mold. They didn't know it, but it caused a lot of health issues. It was documented. So they had a lower credit score because of $80,000+ in medical bills, but I was able to get them into a home. Another person who had a heart attack, then turned around and had a stroke, misdiagnosed. They had a low credit score. They put out their 401k. They bought a house. One member had a lady who I can't remember the name of the birth control, but she was part of the birth control lawsuit because she actually got cancer from the birth control.
Oh, goodness.
And she had a lower credit score and had a bankruptcy, and we were able to get them. So I always say, you know, the word is extenuating circumstances, right? So with the 500 credit score, there's a reason why you have it, you know. And if it's, I don't want to say a valid enough reason, but if you have a good enough reason, not that, you know, your boyfriend left and they didn't give you $50 back, or, you know, you loaned your best friend some money, they didn't pay it back. Those things are everyday things, right? They tell you don't loan out what you cannot afford to lose. Right? That's what they say. So
say that again.
Do not loan out what you cannot afford to lose. So, you know, and you know, and if you're gonna co-sign for someone, make sure that it's a person that you truly can trust. I'm not going to say that co-signing is bad. You have some people who say just flat don't do it, but I can tell you culturally, a lot of other religions and even races co-sign and they have no problem. Okay, so
that's why they have all of these businesses.
Right. So you need to, if you're going to co-sign for someone, make sure it's someone that you have more than a tie with, maybe even a soul tie. You know, so that way they respect you enough to make sure they keep everything in place.
Now, talking about bankruptcy, so I don't tell many people this, but I'm going to touch on that. So I filed bankruptcy in 2008. This is right when, hey, you could file bankruptcy and it wasn't a problem, really. Right. But after really 2008, that's when they cut down on on the bankruptcy laws, right?
Right.
So everything was clean off my credit.
Right.
And then I waited 2 years because I think that's when they suggested I waited to buy my first home. So that's why I filed bankruptcy in 2008 and waited 2010
to buy your first.
And then even though it showed up on my credit, it was not an issue when I purchased my first home.
Correct, right. And you're not alone. I filed bankruptcy before. Guess what? You know, it's part of when you're young. I feel like, and for me, the reason why I filed, I was a single parent and just did not have a support system. It was me and all me. You know, so I tease when I say, you know, and I've told my family this, but my first car that I bought, I intentionally bought a stick because a lot of my family members didn't know how to drive a stick. I was like, you ain't gonna be driving my car. Correct. You is not, you know. So I literally was on my own, and so because I was on my own, and I had to teach, you know, I used to say rob Peter to pay Paul, you know, those things. You know, I had to file bankruptcy too, but I was able to rebound from that, and yes, buy several homes. So it's just how well you manage, right? You know, your situation doesn't define you. And to be honest, people who have filed bankruptcy and come back from that actually are strong people, and they usually even do better for someone compared to someone who hasn't gone through because they've lived it, they've experienced it, and they don't want to go through that again. You know, because it's a shameful situation to say, you know what, I can't, you know, and then that's why they make you wait. But I have had people who have filed bankruptcy, and again, they had an extenuating circumstance, and they didn't have to wait 2 years. And if, like, for example, so let's go over the bankruptcy rules. So if you file a Chapter 7 with an FHA loan, you're supposed to wait the 2 years. You know, but if you have an extenuating circumstance, then there's no waiting period.
I think that's what I did. FHA, and they suggested I did 2 years to wait.
Yeah,
but I did it right without a doubt because I got that $8,000 Obama credit.
Right, and
where Obama at anyway?
Right, and that's the thing. Like, you know, you can with a bankruptcy, you bought a duplex. A lot of people don't know you can buy a duplex. It's an income producing property, And you could buy a duplex income producing with a 500 credit score. You know, if you have a 600 credit score, you can get down payment assistance and purchase a duplex. That's an income producing property. You can rent out the other side, and that rent could cover the whole
Girl,
thing.
shut your mouth.
Yes.
What?
And get down payment assistance.
I think I may buy another home.
There you go. And the seller could cover your closing costs, you know, so you really could get in. I mean, there's lots of ways.
Because
that you
I've been scared to buy another house. Like in this economy and this what's happening, around the world.
Right.
That's our next question. Do you think we're in a recession? Because
I know, right? Well, I'm not an economist or nothing, you know, but I can just only tell y'all in quote history. So when mortgages were created back in 1941, 71 of those years, mortgages have been on an increase. 7 of those years, there was a dip, and only 1 of those years we were flat. So if you go off of history, then even if it is a recession, it's not going to be something that we would not rebound from. But even 1941 is a long time ago. Let's bring it kind of a little bit forward and say in the last 35 years, mortgages have gone up 341%. And only out of those last 35 years, only 6 of those years, mortgages had a decline. And the declines were in 2007 and in 2011. That was it. All the other times, mortgages actually increased. So after the last one, right? In the last 3 years, mortgages have appreciated 40%. That being said, again, I'm not an economist. I can only cite and tell you the history. I tell you, Google it. If you don't trust what I'm saying, Google it. Because you'll see what I'm saying is facts.
Google her.
Yes, you can Google me.
Google where?
I know. Chalamaine Armstrong. And guess what? Because of I'm way up there. You even have to type my whole name.
But hold on. You don't.
You barely type my name and it comes up.
It does. And
so, so I say that any time is a time to buy. So the person who tells you do not buy, then I would ask them a question. So when you bought and your home price declined, did your home increase and double? They would tell you yes. If they told you other than that, they were not telling you the truth. Because again, real estate has only declined 2 times over a period of that 6-year span, 2007, 2011, period. All those other years, a constant appreciation. So it's always a good place to be in real estate. And then even let's say back when the pandemic happened and people who owned homes, they were automatically granted where they did not have to pay a mortgage payment. They didn't have to apply for a grant. They didn't have to wait to see if grant funds were available. That was automatic because you owned a home. But if you rented, you had to what? Apply for funds, wait to be approved, and even get evicted. There were people who were evicted. Nobody was evicted from home. There are still people who are in their homes now that did not make a mortgage payment during the pandemic. And I'm not saying that it's a scapegoat, buy a home and don't make a house payment, because it doesn't work like that. But if there is something that is outside of your control and the government steps in, you own a home, you're protected. So why would you not? Even in a down market. It doesn't make sense.
Baby, she know her stuff.
I might do.
She know her stuff.
I might do.
For you to be this knowledgeable, do you have to have continued education yourself in the mortgage industry? Do you still go to seminars and webinars and read up on it? Because you're very knowledgeable.
I'm a nerd. I try to be all jazzy and stuff, but in the morning I got on a bonnet and reading glasses. Like this morning, I was up at 3:00 in the morning and I'm reading. I'm constantly reading about what's going on, what's changing, what's happening. I weekly do about 2 videos talking about one of them is called, I call it What's Happening in Real Estate. And I say Kiss Wealth Now Knows. And in the other one, I'm going to talk about something that would help someone get into a home because I want to make it easy. That's what I do. I don't read novels of love stories or novels about, traveling. I'm reading guidelines because if someone honors me, because I truly do feel like it's an honor. If I'm honored that a person would say, hey, Kiss Wealth Now, please help me and my family purchase a home, then I have to honor you by doing the best by you. And that is knowing my guidelines backwards and forwards so I can put you in your home.
Now, she's been a member of the studio, what, about 6 months?
Yeah, about 6 months.
About 6 months. And her and I will, just sit after class and talk and she's very.
If she's used to everybody trying to be her friend, but I'm one of her new friends. She said no new friends, but I'm one of her new friends. No.
Hey, no new friends. You know how people are. But as someone I can just sit and talk to, someone I can just sit and talk to. And I love conversing with her because she talks about, we talk about everything. Girl.
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
Yes.
And I like talking to her when it's just her and I in the studio because I know it's going to stay between her and I.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? Whether it's about our home life, where it's about husbands, where it's about business, because I'm like, okay, sometimes it's slow at the studio. Right. Sometimes I have great months, sometimes I have slow months, and we're going to tap into that as well as being an entrepreneur. And hey, the income. What is needed, what is needed from a business standpoint.
That's right.
But I mean, I love talking to her because I just feel like she's so smart and just so like
I get it
real.
I get it from my daddy and my mama.
I get it from my mama. She's like so real, and then I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I just so real,
and you're just back at you. You keep it real. Yeah, no shadows. This girl, she's a queen. No shadows. She comes to you real, and you're passionate. Your passion definitely shines through, and the people who come here see that. So that's what people are attracted to you. They gravitate to you because they know they're going to come in. They're going to get the experience. And it's something that you could take back and do real life. And that's something that just in general, not talking about Kiss Wealth Now or Body Talk Fit, but people look for people that they connect with, that they can relate to, and that they can actually be a resource to. So if I can connect to you, I can relate to you, and I can be a resource to you, then that's important. That creates value, and that's what people are looking for. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on something else, but
hold on. Okay. So what I want our behind the scenes girl to do is, because this is not a live studio, we had to pre-record this. What she's going to do is include Chalamaine's contact info. In the can we do that? Let's see. So website, her website, her
Kiss Wealth Now,
Kiss Wealth Now.
It's all over. You can type it in.
She's Googleable.
Yeah, you can.
She's Googleable.
So I tease what I said, but it's so funny. So years ago, so my husband he has a Wikipedia page. But one of his friends had left his phone in his car. So he was like, I didn't have nobody's number. And he said, I had to Google you. I said, you had to Google me? I was like, oh my goodness. But yes, so it is nice. You can Google me.
I Google myself all the time. I'm like, damn, I got 2 pages.
I know. right.
Body Talk Fit got 2 pages. Noel got 2 pages.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, I know, right?
I'm Googleable.
But
it's not letting me post this. So if you want to spell it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So
sorry.
It's pre-recorded.
Okay.
This is our first pre-recorded.
Yeah, just stay with us. We're working it out. But it's real. It's real time. So my name's Chalamaine Armstrong, CHALAMAINE, of course, Arm and Strong. So you can find me that way across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube.
Dang, girl.
So I'm on all the social media.
You can find her in the studio too.
Right. So I'm there, and there's lots of videos out there. Just how to get a mortgage, how to get down payment assistance, credit programs, whatever you want.
And you have your own podcast, right?
I have my own podcast. Well, thank you. And it's called Speaking Facts in 15. So we air every Wednesday live, and we talk about life, because I feel like I ask from the community, meaning that I ask you to trust me with your family, your wealth, and I tease and say your health, because if your family is intact and your wealth is intact, then normally you are living a healthier lifestyle. So
mentally healthy.
That's correct. That's correct. And so I like to give back in other ways. And so we talk about family, relationships, forgiveness, especially in this culture. It's important that we all learn how to forgive. And it's not something that we take lightly. And we're not saying to forget, but in this culture, especially in this cancel culture, no one really learns and knows how to forgive one another, because no one's perfect. Two imperfect people are going to try to to make something happen. And we're talking about business relationships, personal relationships, but the only way for them to do that is through forgiveness. So we talk about that. We bring on psychologists, we bring on counselors, life coaches, anything that we can do to help make people better as a whole. I even had someone say to me that they were going across Facebook and they saw the live and they were struggling with forgiving their husband for something they had done, but they saw our live and it was like, I needed that. Exactly. You know, forgiveness is a big word, you know, and we talk about healing, you know. Yeah, because music, and this is why I'm gonna go talk. This is she knows about music heals, and when you listen to music on different decimals, then it takes you into different. I don't want to say trances, but it takes you into different spaces where you're actually able to heal your body. Sound heals, music heals. So, you know, that's why you do what you do.
And that's why I do what I do.
Because it heals people.
Yes.
So through that, it takes you out of your area and you come back ready to attack it, right?
Ooh.
Come out biting. You're like, problem what?
Baby,
I don't heard that song.
The universe is speaking
I
know. Dang, you come here talking about that.
I know, right?
Okay, the universe is speaking.
But that's how you can get me on all of the social media places, okay? Now, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So, being a business owner and having your studio and having people come through, you know, and touching so many people, what made you a believer in homeownership or keeps you a believer in homeownership? Like, you know, you understand that you have to have something to get something, you know, what made you want to have your business and what makes you want to be a homeowner and share that with other people? Because this is your podcast and I'm honored that she asked me to come on and she believes in it. So
what made me want my own business is so like I said, in 2010, that's when I thought about birthing Body Talk Fit. And I was working for a corporation at the time. Mm-hmm. And then I was even teaching classes like at 24-hour fitness and then other little small gyms. I'm like, what? I mean, I can do this myself. Right. I want to work for myself where I can help other people. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to create opportunities for other people. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why I started Body Talk Fit. However, at the time, immediately I didn't open a studio because I was still trying to find my niche, right? Still trying to find my way. I love to travel and teach. I didn't want to be in one place.
Right. And
so also too, buying another home, I don't know if I want to stay in Texas. So my son's father, he actually owns the house that we're in now. Mm-hmm. But I don't know where I want to buy again.
Right.
Talking about home ownership, because once my son is done in school in 2 years, I don't want to stay in Dallas. I don't.
Right.
I don't. I want to.
So we have to travel. We have to travel today. We have to travel to come dance.
That's why I'm trying to create opportunities for other people. But I can still have Body Talk Fit. But hey, you know, I just pop in every other weekend. You know?
Right? Yeah.
That is
we might have a new instructor now. Tap dancing, okay?
Come on, we're trying to get some things going, okay? I mean, I wanted to create the opportunities for other people, and it's about time for me to retire from that. I've been doing it 17 years, girl. I'm tired.
Right.
But my body be like, ooh, child. I love the way women come up to me after class, or they have texted me, or they have emailed me, or called me and said, "You don't even know what you've done."
You change people's lives. You really do.
And thank you for saying that.
Yeah, really you really do.
You really do. Yeah.
You give people confidence.
You told me that several times.
And but it's true. It's like you inspire people. You give people confidence, and you guys. So I hate to kind of change topics a little bit, but yesterday at church, you know, one of the things they talked about is, you know, sometimes we have to remove logic out the way. Like there's a whole bunch of people around you who will tell you that you can't do anything, right? But you have to remove logic out the way and believe and have faith that you can.
Yes, you can.
And if you do, you move that stone out the way, and you can accomplish anything.
Right.
So, you know, you've done that, you know, and you inspire people. And it's just, you know, home ownership is the same thing. You know, you'll have people say, oh, ain't nobody going to give you nothing. Yeah, they will. They'll give you down payment assistance. You know, you got to have perfect credit. No, you don't. You know, there's all these.
Scared.
They are scared. And so the more you know.
But you have to have somewhere to live.
Correct.
You have to have a roof over your head.
Right.
Whether it is renting or buying, why not buy and have it
Right.
yourself?
And even if it's short term, meaning for you, you could buy a property and say this is going to be it for 2 years. Okay. And then if you were to move, you could rent it out because again, it's an investment. And real estate, hands down, has made more millionaires than anything else. You can buy Bitcoin, you can invest in gas, you can invest in clothing lines, technology. But at the end of the day, because people have to have a place to live, they got to eat some food, you know what I'm saying? They got to have some water. You know, you have to look at the things that, you know, are your major components that people have to have, you know?
So I was thinking about still like going back, buying another duplex or a townhouse or something, right? Even if I don't stay here, I can rent it out.
Right.
You know?
And that's smart.
Yeah. Even if I don't stay here, I can rent it out.
Correct.
So
it could be an income producing property. And
give me a year. I'll buy from you.
Okay. All right.
Give me a year. She's going to hold me to that.
I know. What's today's date, y'all? Tell me. What is it? The 28th? The 28th?
So, okay. So for my birthday next year, I'm going to buy me a house.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to that.
My birthday is August 15th.
Yes.
Okay. Less than a year. Less than 360.
And since you said that, one thing that's not that we hadn't talked about is how long do you need to apply?
Right.
That's a good question for people. So if you want to buy, let's say next year, then I say about 6 months ahead of time, go ahead and apply so we can get everything in order. You can know how much you can be approved for. If you have some homework, because I never tell anybody no. What is no? Because to me, I don't like no. I don't believe in a no. So you tell me no, I'll be like, okay, somebody else can do it for me. So it was 6 months ahead of time. That means that we can look at your income, look at your credit, look at your assets, and really put together your maximum buying power and your what if scenario. Because what is you know when you want to buy, but the what if is going to give you some ideas to play with. So at least 6 months before you truly ready to go, you definitely want to apply. So my little shameless plug, you got to kiss wealth now, right? And I'm duly licensed, so I don't only I can
So duly licensed, does that mean in every state or only the states that you are?
So I'm good question. I'm for mortgages, I'm licensed in 8 states. For real estate, I'm licensed in Texas.
Nice.
Come
on, girl. Dang. Dang, girl.
And that's what helps me be knowledgeable because I understand that whole 360. You wouldn't be coming to me and only getting one side. I'll be able to answer questions all the way around so you can feel comfortable in your process.
Right. Okay, so Miss Diane is a renter. Okay. Miss Diane has never owned a home before. Now that's not bad. Okay, I am not condemning her or saying, hey girl, why you ain't owned no home before?
Right.
You know, that's not what we doing here. We just stating
a different perspective.
Right. We're just stating facts. But I wanted to get her perspective on why she hasn't purchased a home before and why she's still renting. So
for me, it's been a few factors. One, the main one is money. It's always a thing. And then the other is, where do I want to live? Do I want to stay here? Because I know it's like, if you sell too soon after you buy, that's another hit on like your taxes and all this stuff.
Oh no. So,
But it's like things like that. It's just like, where do I want to be? How long do I want to be there? It's the money factor of it. Because there was even, and then another thing is like for my goals or my dreams, it's never like an actual home with a yard. I'm fine with ownership if it's like a condo, but my ideal of where I want to be is like a high rise. So I'm fine with like doing a condo.
I know,
or a loft
right?
or things like
that. Invite us down to Turtle Creek.
I can see you in a loft.
Yeah.
That's my dream is a loft. I've always
wanted to own a loft.
Yeah. So we're gonna put you in Turtle Creek, honey. We're gonna talk.
Ew, that's money, honey.
See, but then that's another thing. It's like my idea of where I want to stay and the high rise. I'm like, ooh, but I don't make that kind of money.
Right.
But you know what? You got to keep going forward and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to make that.
Yeah.
You know, and what can I do to get there? Right.
Right. Yeah, very
You're
good.
on your way, you know,
Yeah.
and that's where she's mainly. I mean, Turtle, excuse me, I didn't touch your titties. Your breasts is
That's a different
sorry.
That's a different platform.
Sorry, girl. But I mean, that would be perfect for you with your burlesque shows and stuff. You being in that area. Oh my goodness.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, as I was saying, hey, I don't even know if I want to be in the Dallas area. You say you don't even know what. You know,
Right.
we can buy a silver in that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you guys, so even though you don't know, what always shocks me, I'm not putting you down, but people will rent and don't know. So you'll sign a lease and don't know. But why would you not own your home and don't know? Because why wouldn't you pay your own mortgage versus someone else's?
Yeah.
Why you don't know? Meaning that things change. You know, things change all the time. So why not don't know and invest in yourself? Because when you decide what you do know, then you have an investment, and when you walk away from it, it pays you back. So when you are investing in someone else while you don't know, when you walk away, you don't get a thank you card. When they take a vacation because you paid their mortgage, you don't get a thank you card. When they send their kid off to college
That
because
part.
you paid your rent,
Right.
because while you didn't know, the kid doesn't write you back and say, thank you for helping me get my bachelor's, you know.
that's
So don't know, it doesn't have anything to do with it, because don't know shouldn't stop you from making money. And when you own a home, it really is a silent savings. You know, like I talked about earlier, when I sold my first home, I walked away with $45,000. That was a silent savings that I had not anticipated, but it was there. My second home, triple digits. You know, like I've always made money. In my first home, I didn't know. I bought my house sight unseen online. I did not know, but I knew that I wanted to pay my mortgage and not someone else. So when I figured out where I wanted to be, I would have the money to get me there. And then money is a big thing. A lot of people say, well, I don't have the money. There's down payment assistance that covers 5%. And depending on if you want to live in a certain area like Dallas, they have up to $50,000 in down payment assistance. And you don't have to have perfect credit at all. You can have a 600 credit score. You can have a 580 credit score and get $50,000 in down payment assistance. All they require you to do is sit through a class, take home buyer education, and they really teach you about, at the end of the day, we're creatures of a habit, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, if I have a budget, you know, my budget's going to include, of course, maybe me getting my hair done, a little shopping, some food, you know, my light bill, car insurance. What they teach you in the home buyers class is that your decisions should not have to be life decisions, meaning when I buy a home, I should still be able to have these other things incorporated. I mean, I shouldn't buy a house and not be able to buy no groceries. I shouldn't buy a house and not have cable. Because I tease when I say this, you know, if you're going to buy a house and you currently have cable, but to get into the house, you say, you know what, I'm cutting cable. But then your husband's not coming home because he's at the neighbor's house or down the street watching the game at somebody else's house. That's a problem, right? You know what I'm saying? That would be a problem. So
see you soon.
Yeah, I know. It's like I cut out cable, you know, or your budget has 2 cars. You buy a house and you can only afford to have 1. You know, so we are creatures of habit. And so that being said, when we go into homeownership, if you can get your down payment, then you want it to be completely covered and clear. And you have one other thing, location, down payment assistance. And then the other thing is, a lot of times we feel like we can't afford where we want to live and not know what we can really afford. It's another don't know. But if you take the time,
the cost of apartments nowadays,
correct.
oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
and
it is ridiculous.
and guess what? And
It
you
is
guys,
ridiculous.
in apartments, you don't have stability, you know. So when you own a home, you have stability. So the difference is in your apartment, you pay your rent, and most apartments make you pay your own water bill. And it's shared. So if little Tommy lets the water run all night and all day, it's split between okay, right? It's shared between everybody. You know, and right, okay, for real. and everybody has to pay for it, you know. And the apartments are not insulated well, you know. So most people have 1,200 square feet, and they may pay $200 a month.
Right.
But you compare that to someone who owns a home that has 4,000 square
you
feet.
hearing them walking. Oh my goodness! I used to hate staying there. You hearing them walking like all night long,
and the kids running, jumping, thumping. Yeah,
sleep. Oh,
you're like, it's bumper upstairs, you know. And then
you get the broom. You get the broom and you doing like this, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Have you ever done that before?
I have.
Goodness.
And then at the end of your year, you don't get a thank you for being a good tenant.
Right.
We're going to give you a discount. We're going to raise your rent because it's cost of living.
Right.
But your mortgage doesn't do that. Your mortgage. So while you don't know, have stability. And at the end of that year, your mortgage payment would be the same. At the end of the 5 years, it could be the same. And you want to do a mortgage health checkup. You know, your principal and interest is going to be the same, but let's look at your homeowner's insurance every year. Let's make sure it's covering your home. Property taxes, there's nothing we can do about that. But you definitely want to, you know, talk about it. You know, so there's no reason why you don't want to embark on that for not knowing, because if you take the time to know, it's going to make you money.
Okay, so this question is more directed, maybe more about me, right?
Okay.
So, and I think I touched on this just a bit earlier in the podcast. So, what advice would you give a business owner / entrepreneur when wanting to purchase a home who doesn't have steady income versus a steady paycheck?
Yes,
that's
right?
me too. That's me too.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, both of us, right?
Right.
So, like I said, I mentioned earlier, sometimes I can have great months here. You know, the next 2 months could be slow. Like this summer has been slow, which is very unlikely, because every summer I've had has been busy. I don't know if it's because of this heat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, private parties for the last 10 years have been banging for me.
Right.
I mean, and
but you got 2 coming.
Yeah.
For me.
3. Yeah. I mean, private parties per se. You know, that's where I make my money. Private parties.
Right. Yeah.
Private parties. I mean, because you know, I just do.
Right.
Private party is where I make my money. But it's been slow this summer, you know, where, hey, I haven't booked as many private parties as I have, looking, you know, at my history of the last 8 years. I'm like, ugh. So, I mean, I could have a good 6 months, then I could have another 3 slow months. You know, it's all over the board, right?
Right.
And even you're an entrepreneur, right? So I'm sure you're not steady either, right? Because I'm sure you can close on a house and not get paid till 2 months later,
right?
Or
a month later. That's right.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to an entrepreneur / business owner that doesn't have a steady paycheck?
And great question, because I tease when I say this, but as an entrepreneur, your money can be funny or it can be hilarious, right? And when it's hilarious, it is. You're like, what in the is going on? Where are you at? Where are you at? You know, right? You know, and all you can do is laugh at the bottom of the pit of your stomach, like. It's a nervous laugh.
Right.
Okay,
Lord,
please. It's laughing to keep yourself from crying.
There you go. That's that hilarious money. I've been there. Okay, so funny money and hilarious money still counts. It still adds up. That being said, if you're self-employed, and typically, sometimes self-employed people will have a lower credit score because they go from funny to hilarious, you know, and sometimes it be in the same year, same month, you know. And so with that being said, I always say stack your nuts, you know, especially for winter, you know.
Hold on. I ain't got no nuts.
Stack your we squirrels out here trying to get a nut. You know, just you know, stack your nuts for the winter, you know, but know when your business
stack
is
your nuts. You need several with some nuts, okay?
Where the men at?
Hold on, stack them nuts, okay? Where they at? If y'all listening, I need to stack my nuts.
Right. I know, right? But call, no.
But hey, this one over here.
Taking applications.
I need all the nuts.
We need all the nuts we can get.
Taking applications. If you are suitable for that nut placement. No, I'm kidding.
That part.
But, you know, try
2 nuts at a time. That's all I need. 2 nuts at a time.
Save your money for your rainy days.
Right.
And but being self-employed, you can buy a home. The biggest thing is you have to claim what you earn. So many self-employed people will have those dollars that they make, they will claim them and they will write them off. So their net will be a lot less than what they may truly be operating with. So if that's the case, it can be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more cumbersome. That's what I was looking for. A little bit more cumbersome for you to, to meet that milestone of owning a home. If you make $60,000 a year and your expenses are $50,000, and then at the end of the year you only have $10,000 left over. So you have to pay to stay somewhere.
So how does that work when, hey, you trying to file your taxes so you don't owe the IRS, but you need to file the taxes so you can buy a home? And you know what I'm saying? It's just, ooh, Lord,
Yeah,
I'm like,
you got to
woo.
pay the piper. Uncle Sam say, and not me, but Uncle Sam say.
Okay, so you have to look over my tax returns and stuff like
Yes,
that. So you can
and
say,
I-
okay,
and I
this is
can
what
do
you need to do
Right.
for next year or something.
Right, and
Okay.
right, and I can do that, and I help you out all the time. But another option is if you don't want to pay Uncle Sam, then you have a bank statement option where you can provide 12 months worth of bank statements, and we would average your bank statements over 12 months. But here's the
You gonna look at my spending habits?
right? No.
Oh, shit, maybe I don't need to do that.
Right. But here goes the caveat. The caveat is that if you do a bank statement program, minimally you're going to put down 10%, and the lower your credit score, the more you're going to put down.
Okay.
So there are options out there if you have maintained your credit score 660 or above. That you could, use your bank statements and get into a home.
Okay.
So don't be scared,
Okay.
reach out to me so I can help walk you through it. And we can see again, if it's 6 months from now and we need to work on your credit because you're hovering around a 630 or 640, then we can talk about what you need to do to get your score up. So, and also talk about maybe a savings pattern so you won't be shopping.
See, I'm not, you know what? My son is worse than me. My 16-year-old son, he get Amazon packages every day.
Right.
I'm not a big shopper. I
I'm not
just
Experience life.
But,
it's hard. I just be swiping and I'm like,
but you know
what did I just spend that on?
right, exactly. But living the life,
Right.
and living the life you deserve.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody deserves to have a piece of the American dream. Like I had some people in my office today, they were immigrants, and he, was saying, this is what living in America is about. So if an immigrant knows that coming to America, right? And to America and owning a home is important, then why do people not own homes, And so it's for everyone if you can make it work, And so, and there's people out, I love helping people make it work. I'm recognized by the state of Texas. I help the underserved people. I help people who don't have money.
A lot of events. You are like on the go all the time.
All the time, yes.
Oh my goodness! I called her the other day. She was at. Can I say where you were?
Uh-huh.
She was at Texas Live doing
Event.
doing an event. What, did you have a table over there?
We did have a table.
Yeah, she had a table over there.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm like, you need to hold on. I was
Right.
gonna come up there.
I
I was
know.
like, oh,
And then and we and also I did an open house this weekend. First Texas opened up a new a development in DeSoto, so I was there. I mean, it's important to stay aware. Yeah, be in the community.
Yeah.
You
Show
know,
your face.
that's
Let
right.
them know who you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have one last question for Miss Chalamaine Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
What is community property in the state of Texas?
Oh, I love that question because I get into a lot of debates about community property. So I will tell you that Texas does not recognize anything other than you're married or you're not married. So if there's some in between, like you got some ish going on where you're separated ish or it's complicated ish, all those things, Texas doesn't recognize that. So either you are or you are not. So if you are living as a married couple or even common law where you refer to one another as husband and wife, you share an address, you have bank statements, your paychecks, your tax returns, all that stuff coming to the same place, you are legally married in the state of Texas, right? And even if you weren't legal, quote unquote, legally married, y'all would have to get a divorce to divide your debt. So common law, even if you are not legally married, means that if you were to acquire something, that means that you both would have equal interest in that property. Yes. So, it's important that when you buy a property, and you have multiple people on title, even if they're not on title, that person's staying there and that person is receiving mail, spouses, you're claiming whatever spouse it is, wife, husband, wife, what have you, if that is what you guys are operating as, then it is community property.
Y'all better be careful on who you move into your house.
That's right. And that means you both have equal ownership in that. And there's different ways you can take title. You have community property, which is standard. Each person would have 50% interest. And if somebody was to pass away, the other person would get the other person's percentage. Or you have tenants in common, which means that you both have 50% ownership. But if one person would pass away, that person who passed away, their ownership doesn't go to the other party. It would go into their estate. So there's different things to, but community property is community property. So you can't, if you want to buy a house in Texas and you're separated from somebody and you don't want that person to go on the deed and you're married, there's no way around it because either you are or you are not. There's no gray area.
Wow.
So what do you feel about community property? Most people think it sucks. Especially when there's a problem, right? What?
It sucks when it's a problem.
Right. Well, I gotta go dig this person up. I gotta go find them at their mama house. I'm sure. And tell them to sign this paper.
What?
Yes. I gotta go find Tommy at somebody else's house.
Turn off that water and sign this paper.
Why do you use Tommy?
It
sounds neutral.
Right, yeah. But Tommy, if you watch on this TV.
Hold on, have y'all seen what was it, Tommy show?
Tommy's your nephew Tommy?
No, hold on, Tommy. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Tommy show.
No, Tommy used to be with that's not Kane.
To be continued.
I was like, Tommy from Living Single?
Yeah, nephew Tommy, yeah. Y'all give us some Tommies to work with. Give us some suggestions.
No, y'all know what I'm talking. I can't think right now, y'all. Okay, it's been a long day, but hey. Okay, again, we have had Chalamaine Armstrong with Kiss Wealth now on this podcast. She has given you so much wealthy, healthy, and guidance.
Yes, some
and
filling information.
Filling information that you need to, if you need to go back and rewatch this podcast, please do. If you are trying to purchase a home, you don't know the steps, you don't know how to go about even filling out an application or what is needed to submit with the application. If you don't know what your credit score is, if you want a pre-approval, if you don't know what area you need to go to, and she knows, hey, this is a hot area. Let me get you in a home.
That's right.
Reach out to her again. Give the people your contact info.
My phone number 214-738-4913, and you're going to get Chalamaine the woman, not Chalamaine the God. So sorry, no. I have somebody call me
a personality,
right? And then my website KISSWEALTHNOW, just all together, kisswealthnow.com, and you can Google me, Chalamaine Armstrong.
All right.
I'm there for you.
All right.
What's your name of your podcast?
Speaking Facts in 15. And we're talking about life issues and just way that we can be better and be healthier.
Be healthier, be better. Be
Mental
a better
health
person.
Is your wealth.
Yes. Again, thank you. We didn't have time for no instruction today.
Okay, what
because I was going to show you what Chalamaine be doing in the class. Okay, I was going to show you what Chalamaine be doing in the class. You can find on some of our videos on my Instagram page and my Body Talk Fit page, Facebook page. So
The
my
girl with about
info-
this much rhythm, but you know, I'll watch it out.
girl, bye. You be looking so cute.
I've been
So hold on,
trying.
she'll have on her crop top,
That's
her
right.
booty shorts,
That's
and
correct.
her little
My waist
waist
beads.
pants.
Yeah.
That's
my
what she
signature
wears.
look.
That's what her signature look is. Okay,
My husband be like, "Where you going?" I be like,
class.
He gonna be
Like,
my
what
he
class?
be my outfit today.
Okay,
For class.
we got class tonight.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, my contact information is bodytalkfit.com. We have classes here Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Saturday mornings. Bodytalkfit.com. You can find me at bodytalkfit on Facebook, Body Talk Fit on Instagram. You can look at my schedule online on my website. If you
What
want
about
to
the
contact
private?
me,
What about the private classes?
yes, if you
Tell
want to
me.
contact me about a private class, okay, a private session, a private
Yes.
party, we are offering that.
And those are anytime, right?
Anytime
See?
that I'm available, okay?
There you go.
214-783-4117. All you need is a small group of girls, small group of men, whatever
just
you
you,
want to do,
or just
you. I do a Thelma and Louise package, so you and your BFF, y'all can
I
come.
love that.
If you want to do a party up to 6, I got a special for a party up to 6. That would be a pole party and a chair dance party, or like a heels, hip hop heels party,
Oh,
essential
that's
class.
I'm
Yes,
trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for my
Yes,
birthday
ma'am.
next month.
we doing something.
That's
We
right.
doing something. Yes.
Right.
All right, we going. We gotta go. We gotta get ready for class. All right, we love you. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.